Hello there. How's everybody doing? I hope everyone's having a great Thursday so far. Thank you so much for watching. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. This is Workout Wednesday Live. My name is Sean Miller, Hipster Viz Ninja, and we are going to have some fun with KPI switching. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're doing here. We're going to do, let's see, we've got, yep, there we go. So, doing some KPI switching here. Kyle Yetter's got this one. He said he was inspired by Lindsay Poulter's Set Action Workbook, which is a great, excellent resource for learning how to use set actions and is a precursor to parameter actions. So if you are using, so first we had set actions that came out and they kind of really changed the game for a lot of things. It was still limited, but it was the first kind of UI thing that Lindsay really did an amazing job at. So that workbook here that Kyle's linked to is great for learning how to do some of these really cool, intricate stuff. So that's what we're going to build. Looks like we're looking at baseball data again. Can't complain with that. So yes, Albert Pujols and Miguel Cabrera, two of the all-time greats, two of the all-time modern players who are still both playing. We are going to look at a few of their metrics. And let's see, let's take a look at what we're doing here. So you can see here we've got a line chart that shows each player, and then we've got some KPIs up here that kind of help you out here. So So we select a KPI and it switches. It switches this highlight color. So we have a highlight color here that kind of highlights which one we're using. We have a, it switches the title of the metric down here, and it changes the, let's see, does it change the scale? Yeah, okay, yep, it changes the scale. And cool. So, and we've got some indicators here. We've got some marks, some annotated marks here for the highest and lowest, which is really good. So we'll look at that. All right, yeah, this looks pretty straightforward. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go over here to Tableau. Let's go ahead and connect to our data source. It is a Microsoft Excel data source. As I'm pulling this up, let me know where you're watching from. Let me know who's here, and say hi. All right, so we've got that. Okay, so we've got this loaded in. It's just a single table. There we go. All of these different things here. Excellent. Yeah, all right. We've got Kyle on the stream, so he's going to be watching to see how I do this. So awesome. Looks like we've got Drew from India, Tim from Orlando. It's good to see you. And Tiffany from Austin. So, and I know that Kyle is in the upper Pacific Northwest. So, which is really cool. And we've got Sarah from LA. Awesome. So is that Louisiana or LA, California? We'll see. But all right, so let's go ahead and let's do this. So what we're going to do, we know that player is going to be on. I'm going to go ahead and just see how we do here. So player on color looks like Cabrera is. Yep, there we go. Oh, no, selected metric that and that. Okay, we don't have colors for the players. That's okay. We've got, looks like kind of a dark gray and a red here. So we'll go ahead and set that. Let's see. Pujols is red. That makes sense because he is a Cardinal. So we'll do, I actually have some very basic KPI colors here. So we'll do red, and Cabrera is this kind of dark black, blue, very dark navy blue, black for the Tigers, which is really cool. So we'll set that, and we're set to good to go here. And actually what I'm going to do, just to make sure, is I'm going to set my default properties for these players, just to make sure that anywhere I put them, anywhere I use them is going to be set to that. So that's set. We're ready to go. All right. So we've got year as a continuous measure on columns. And you can see here we've got 2 red marks here for Pujols because he started before. That's all right. Fun fact. So Albert Pujols, as I'm building this out, Albert Pujols actually went to high school with my wife at Fort Osage. He only played 1 year. So yeah, so that's kind of our claim to fame there. My wife went to the same high school as Albert Pujols. All right, so we're doing games. All right, so what we're going to do, we know that we're going to need a switcher of some sort. So even though he called this a set actions, he said he was inspired by the set actions workbook. He did not say that we have to use set actions. So I'm going to use parameter actions because that's what I'm familiar with most. So we have the metric selection. And I think we'll just do a string field for now. And we'll say this is games. So G is games, so we'll go ahead and do some renaming here. So games. What else? We've got games, hits, which is H. There we go. What else? Hits per game, which is the sum of hits divided by the sum of games. Bring over our... there we go. Kyle's putting the... Kyle's got Kyle's gave you the hex code there in the chat. So if you haven't done this, go ahead and add that to that. That's all right. All right. So the next thing we need to do, this is hits per game, which is the sum of hits divided by the sum of games. Let's see, what else? Home runs, that's HR. Rename home runs. There we go. And we have at bats per home run. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. And then we'll call this at bats per home run. Sum of HR, sum of home runs. So there you go. So look at this. So this is interesting. So I've renamed these fields. I've renamed HR to home runs, but it's also, but in the calculation it's still good. So Tableau, and I can also do home runs, right? So Tableau and calculated fields will either take the database column name or it will take the alias name. So that's something that I just learned, which is pretty cool. So and look at that, I'm learning things all around. Let me make this bigger. It also, you don't have to have the square brackets around your column name. As long as it turns orange, Tableau will understand. If I click apply, will it add them? Yes, it will. So look at that. So I clicked apply and it changed it. So I bet if I do HR, Tableau says, yes, I recognize this. I recognize HR as a database column, but when I select apply, it changes it. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. All right, so the next thing, you know what I'm going to do now is, is that all we need? Yes. So we just have games, hits per game, home runs, and at-bats home runs. Just those 5. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and put those into I'm going to put those into a folder so that I can more easily find them. Create a folder. We'll call these metrics. It puts that up there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide the rest of these just so we clean up our workspace a little bit. So just hide those. We're not going to need them. We've got everything we needed to. Now let's go. These two are going to be ratios, so we need to make sure that we are doing that properly. And I think we have, let's see, is it 1? We've got 2 there. Let's see, we've got 2 decimal places, 2 decimal places. All right, so custom standard for those 2 is decimal and 2 decimal places. There we go. All right, so now go ahead and just put game up there, sum of game. All right, so we've got that there, which is good. Let's go ahead and put our mark labels, but we'll only do the min and max. Min and max for, nope, that's not what we want. Well, I want to do min and max, but I want to do it for the, interesting. Nope. Nope. For each line? No. Interesting. Huh. Oh, that's why. Is that what it has up here? Let's see. Let's see what we have for games. Do we have 161 everywhere? Yes. Okay. Oh, do we need to remove 2022? Is that another requirement in here? Yeah, it's not in there, but we need to remove 2022 because 2022 is still happening. So let's go ahead and do a data source filter, and we'll do year, and we'll just set this to 2021. There we go. There we go. And that will go away, and that will be like that. All right, very good. Cool. That's looking good. All right, so let's talk about, so that is our main trend. All right, now what we need to do is we need to create these charts up here, right? So we need to, these are going to be our KPI, these are going to be our KPI spark lines. That's what I'll call them. And what we'll do is we will just duplicate this field, or we'll duplicate that sheet, but we'll remove the mark labels. We'll remove the header and remove all the formatting. So all the grid lines will go away, all the axis rulers, all the zero lines, we don't even need the year, show header, there we go. What we do need to add is we do need to add this. So a couple different ways you can do this. One, you could do it as a, let's see, is it a title? Doesn't look like a title, it looks like, all right, we're gonna see how that goes. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to put measure name on that, and show, so I put that'll, I think that's going to help us later when we do our parameter switching. So I'm going to put measure names on detail, and all right, let's go ahead and start building out this dashboard, and because I want to make sure that I don't know if up here in the KPIs, if the KPIs are the sheet titles, or if the KPI words are actually a mark on the dashboard. So let's see about that. So we'll go 11 by 900, throw a vertical in there. We know we're gonna need I'm just gonna start adding some placeholders here. Title, and then this is gonna be a horizontal. I'm gonna put a blank in here. Got to start with a blank always. And now we're gonna put a horizontal in here, and we're going to rename my dashboard item to KPI placeholder. And then we have our main trend down here. This is my blank. I'll put my footer in here. Okay, there we go. All right, so now, so if I go back here and I just do, so this is, bring this over and put, nope, that's not going to work because that's going to change. So we'll put games, and we'll do how are we going to do this? Okay, let's see. Well, I want both player in there, and I don't, because if I just add the field player, it's just going to say all. Yeah, and that's not what we want. We want both of them. So we'll just do Pujols, and Cabrera. And I'll just leave those there for right now. We'll do some formatting later if we need to. Put that there. All right, looks like those are just headers. So the other way that you could do this, if you wanted to, we'll put our header back, and we'll see that 70%. We'll see that what we'll do here is we'll say if year equals whatever, we'll add the header here too. So this is, again, you don't have to do this, but sometimes it can be beneficial. If the year is 2021 and the we'll say in games, equals, we'll say 200 for now, then player end. So if the year equals, there we go. So if the year equals 2021 and the games equals 200, then place player. So I'm just creating a mark. That's all I'm doing. And I think I just exited instead of said okay, so we'll have to rewrite that. So we'll call this header placer. So if year equals 2021 or 2001, not 2020, 2001, and games equals 200, then player end. All right, so we'll do that. Now what this is going to do, no, I messed this up. So instead of this, we're going to say then 200. And this is going to create our mark. Right? So essentially it's just going to be a single mark up here. So what I can do is change this to continuous. And when I move it up here, you can see that it adds I'll change this to min. There we go. You can see it just adds a mark right here at there. And I think potentially if I add player to that, it'll just add that. So anyway, we could go through there. We don't need to. I'm not going to. Anyway, but that's a way that you can create marks out of thin air, right? And then you can use that to kind of manipulate how things look in Tableau. So, but we don't need to do that. We'll just go ahead and get rid of this. We'll get rid of that. We'll show this again for the lines. Now what would be really cool, I would love to, so you know what we did, the marks here, right? It highlights, it annotates each maximum mark of the same value. It'd be, because you can see here 161 is highlighted both times for Cabrera. It'd be really cool if it would just do once, right? Otherwise, you'd have to create a calculation. You'd have to create a secondary calculation in order to just get once. I've had to do that several times when sometimes you're doing a trend line and you have a bunch of zeros or you have a bunch of ones, and then you do min max values and it highlights all of the ones. So that's something else that we can maybe play with later if we get done with more time. But For this, I'll call this games KPI. And so now what I need to do here is I need to kind of format this, right? So we've got Pujols in red and Cabrera in there. And then what we need to do is create separate. So if player equals Pujols, then games end, and what we need to do here is sum this, and we probably need to do a windows. It probably needs to be a window sum because we're doing it at the title level, because otherwise the sum. Because if you and we'll talk about that in a minute, but let's do we'll do Pujols game KPI. I'm gonna put that on detail, and then I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna add that here. Now it adds 2971, which is what we're after. Or 29, I wonder if the reason that my is 2979 and his is, or 2971 and his is 2979, I'm gonna, no, I don't know. Because he's got the trend line that doesn't look like that, but potentially 2022 is included in this KPI potentially. Kyle, is that what you think? Yep, there you go. He says he didn't filter the numbers out of the overall numbers. Cool. So we're still on track. All right. Now let's look at, before I do this, let's look at this, right? So if I just did, why did I add this window sum, right? Why did I do that? If I go in here and comment the window sum out, I still need, still need that. Okay, yep, that'll work. All right, so we can get rid of that comment. Okay, so what I did here, I'll bump this up so you can see it. What I did here is I just bumped this up, and where are we going? There we go. Yeah, you can see my face. There you go. All right, so what we've done here is I just did sum, right? So we're just, if player equals Pujols, then games, then sum. And then we're going to sum that whole thing. Now, when I click apply, two things are going to happen. One, this 2971 is going to go away because I've changed the field, I've changed the aggregation, I've changed everything, so Tableau doesn't know that field anymore. Second thing it's going to do is it's going to give me a range, right? So, so it didn't, but it's still going to give me a range. So you see how this says 39 to 161? That makes sense, right? Because the sum, if you look at your aggregation here on your rows, that is what we've done, right? And what we're putting up in the title, we want the overall sum, right? We don't want the sum of each individual part, because what this is we haven't told Tableau to aggregate it even more, right? So I could do window sum, I could do total, I could do whatever. But that's, so if you've ever tried to put a measure into a title and you get this range thing, it's because there's still another level of aggregation that you need to do on top of that. So that was kind of a mind-blowing moment when I first learned about that. So if you're new to Tableau, or if you've been using Tableau for a while and you didn't know that, hope you learned something there. So we'll go back and we'll add back in this window sum, and now we've got 2979. All right, so that means that we've got to go create calculations for each one. So we'll duplicate this. This is Cabrera. KPI. And then I'll just do not instead of trying to rewrite his name. I'll just do not Pujols because that's everybody else. And then we'll add this to detail. Add this to our that there. Apply 2587. Yep, that looks good. Okay, now the next thing, so let's go ahead and start, let's format these titles, and we'll do semi-bold, 18, and then we'll do Tableau medium, more colors. Pujols is this red color. Tableau medium 15. Cabrera is this other color. There we go. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now we'll go through the process of kind of cleaning this up a little bit. We also know there's not going to be a header, or there's not going to be a tooltip since this is the header, or this is the KPI selector. So we've got that there. And now what we need to do is, let's see, do I have KPI placeholder, player, okay, so I need to put this guy here and then remove that. There we go. So now I can start spacing this guy, edit the height here. 420 is way too much. Let's look at 100. That's way too little. Let's do 200. What's that look like? I think that'll look pretty good. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to switch up our game hits. We'll do hits next. Here's another quick thing. If you want to make sure that you don't lose any of your formatting, instead of we know that we can click and drag and drop on top to replace, but sometimes some of your formatting can get all wonky if you do that. Tableau will lose all the formatting because you've replaced, because any formatting that you did to that particular pill, you're now putting a new pill on top of it, and therefore it clears all of your formatting. So a way to get around that, if you've done a lot of formatting on a pill, is if you double click and edit in shelf, and then you just edit in here your hits or whatever new field you want. And I shouldn't do this yet because what I need to do first is duplicate this. And this is hits KPI. Now we go up here, we change this to hits. Yep, Kyle caught me. So I need to duplicate the sheet first. So now I just do that, and you see how it just everything changed, but everything, like the numbers and the values changed, but all of my formatting is still remaining here. So now we just need to go up here and edit this to hit, and then we need to duplicate these, and this is hits. And edit this again. Cabrera hit KPI. Edit. Pujols hit KPI. And then we can come in here and we can just now you see how it just went none there? So that's, you know, sometimes you can Sometimes it's faster to do that, sometimes it's not. Tableau says, hey, there's a missing field, and that's true. Like the field that it was referencing no longer exists on that detail, so it is technically missing. So we'll go in here, we'll add Pujols hit. We'll go here to do Cabrera hit. Click apply, and we're good to go. But I still didn't. Oh, did I not add the... What did I do here? Hits. Hit. That one is hit. There we go. There we go. Now, interesting, a little bit of history. For those of you who may not be keeping up on it, Cabrera just last week hit his 3,000th hit, which is a pretty incredible milestone. One of the greatest milestones in baseball. So, and with all of the analytics in sport and baseball today, and who's behind, and the number of hitters behind him, and where they're at, it is going to be a very long time before we see another 3,000 hitter. So there you go. So Kylie Hitter, he knew. Check-in questions. See, I love it when the challenge creator's on here. He's challenging me. So check-in questions. How are you going to get the color of the entire sheet, including the title, to change with the selected metric? Yeah, I noticed that as we were kind of going through here. So that's why I'm thinking. That's why I'm thinking potentially I need to think about that. Now I have some ideas. Let me finish this and and then we'll get to that question before we do that. So anyway, yes, it's going to be a long time before we knew that. Like, it's going to be a long time if baseball continues at its current analytic clip. All right, so now let's go add hits to the dashboard. And we don't need this guy. Okay, so because I added, now what we can do, we'll do case metric selection parameter, case or when games, then some games when, all right, hits, then some hits, and I'm gonna just kind of prototype this out before we're building out all of the rest of the KPIs and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna get this all figured out. So what I'm doing here is I'm just gonna create this. Now what I'm doing here is I'm putting this calculated field on here, and you can see nothing changed here, right? Now what I'm going to do on the dashboard is I'm going to do a parameter action with measure names and measure values. Change parameter when I select the metric selection parameter, and it's going to be on measure names. No. So what I want to do is, because I put measure names on each sheet, I have the ability to take those measure names and insert them into a parameter, and then you just saw me create the metric selection parameter. So when the metric selection parameter is a particular one, it will change the value in the main trend. At least that's my hope. So we'll see. Clicking the selection, we'll keep it there. Click OK. Let's see if this works. Yes, that works. But what you can see, as Kyle was trying to call me, or trying to, that was his check-in question, is how are you going to handle the, how are you going to handle this? It's a good question. Let's see. Let's do a little bit more investigation here. So I can see I've got squares. I've got squares that outline on each sheet here. So he's done something with the sheets, and that it's almost like there's a mark on top of the spark lines that have a transparency. And let's see here. Oh, refresh. There we go. Okay, and I can also see whenever I click on it, I see that I've got you see how the sparkling kind of goes away, and then it switches to the color, and then it comes back. So that's another thing that I'm thinking about here. Okay, so let's do. So I know that there was another. Let's see here. Oh, that's the game KPI, and I don't need my labels on that. So let's see here. I think I am gonna need to do that that mark thing that I was talking about earlier, potentially. That's one way I could go about it. And then what would happen is, so what I could do is just do a sum of, what is this mark here? Let's show this tooltip again. Well, I don't need to do that. I'll just show my mark headers. 202. So if I do sum of 300 and make this an area chart, remove all of this stuff. Min 300. And then I need to do metric selection. So I can't use, so the other thing that I can't do is I can't use measure selection. Well, it would be, I mean, we could do measure selection equals games. And then I'll color this guy. Yeah. So what I'm doing here is I'm kind of, let's do this. So you can kind of see where I'm going here. Maybe I don't want that. Well, maybe I do. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Next thing we're going to do, format show header. I'm actually going to change this to discrete. That changes these to circles. I'll change them back to lines. And then I'll edit my axes here. But that still won't do that. That'll change that there, but it won't change the fact that I'll still have this kind of extra space here. Because what I was saying is I could go up here to edit axis, independent, or this and actually just change this to 300. That will take that. That will take the case of that. And then I can drop the opacity of the area chart to like something really crazy. Yeah, 45 looks good. 46, there you go. So now if I show my parameter selection and I type in hits, it's going to change the color. So that's how I can get that to work. I can get this down here, and then I can remove all of my headers here. And then, oh, maybe if I get rid of this, show header, delete the row header. All right, I promise I'll go back and explain all of this while I'm after I get done with this. Okay. So I think this is good, because then, oh, this one actually, because I'm on this hits, I'm on the hits one, so this calculation here needs to be hits. And this does mean what I said. I'm going to have to recreate the titles. I'm going to have to recreate the titles inside, not as the sheet title, but as kind of a placeholder mark. But I can't, oh man. But I can't do that because, well, maybe I can. Yeah. Maybe I can. Okay. I think I can still do this. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. We'll call this hits sheet color. We'll call it that. Oh, and hits sheet color, edit, and this actually needs, yeah. Oh no, not that. That's the metric selection. Measure selection. See, that's why it helps to name your calculated fields as you go, because then you don't. This is the games. No, we want. Let's change this. Hits selection. Hits color. Sheet color. There we go. All right, we'll do that. Placeholder. Hit sheet holder. And we want this to be, actually, we want this to be hits. There we go. All right, so that's working so far. Now, for this, I think I'm going to get a little fancy and a little hacky, but it's going to work. So we'll do that, all right? So first thing I need to do is I need to take Pujols, let's go ahead, yeah. So here, what we'll do, first we'll drag these guys off, and it doesn't matter what's up here. Click OK. We'll just get rid of the title for now. All right, so again, this is going to be kind of hacky, but it's going to work. So sit back and enjoy the show. All right, what we're going to do is I'm going to put the name here, hits, and I'm going to put this on label, and oh, that puts that there. That's not necessarily what I want, but can I change the alignment? Nope. Okay, that's not gonna work. Dang. Okay. Because what I had thought well, it doesn't matter what I thought I'd do, but because what I want to do is I want to annotate that mark, right? I want to annotate this. Can I annotate it? Mark, what would that look like? I can do it this way. Can I get my... Nope, I can't do that. because I can't put in any fields. All right. So maybe it's not annotated. Yeah, I'm going rogue here, as you can see from Kyle's chats here. But this is kind of the fun. This is why we do these, right? This is why I do the live stream, because we all have different approaches. Yeah, annotate area is not going to work. Annotate point. That's just the sum of hits. That's not going to work. Okay, that's not going to work. Okay. And we can't. Can we layer? Can we layer sheets? Is that something we can do? Like if we have two, because what you, no, that would, I mean, that would be a lot of sheets, but that could also be done, is you could just go create these blank sheets that have, you know, you could do hits and Pujols and Cabrera, and we can select all those and put those up here, and then do some formatting, and then we could do square, but that's not going to get, but then you could do sheet color on that, and entire view, move that over here, something like that, and then you could move the opacity down like this, and then you could do, and then we would go back to this guy, remove that, come back, distribute evenly, and then you float a horizontal container over here, and then you take this guy and you put him in there, and but that wouldn't do the measure, that wouldn't do measure selection. Well, I guess you could hack that a little bit. Your thumbnails are floating. Okay. So I'm reading Kyle's chats as he's going through here. So so that's what I'm doing. All right. So we'll do that, and we'll go here, and then we'll do some formatting here. But then what you could do, yeah, you could have, because then what you could do is you could edit, you could update my action, and yeah, I don't want it on there. I don't have measure names, but what would need to happen is go here. This text, this empty text, actually needs to become a field. So we'll just call it hits. All right, so now it's a field, and that will allow me to use that text, that string column in parameter actions. So let's do some formatting here. Let's get rid of these. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of all of my other lines and such. We've got row dividers. We don't have that. We don't have any of this. Okay. All right, so that's good. So now what we'll do, so that was sheet. That was, let's rename this to hit selector. And then we'll duplicate this. And we'll call this games. And it's just going to be a string field. Oop. There we go. Okay, fine. Games underscore. Oh, yeah, there we go. Games with double quotes. There we go. And then we'll do games double quote there. That changes that. That makes 2 there. I need to duplicate this. Change this to the games sheet color. Get rid of my copy and make sure this equals games. Okay. Then, but that doesn't quite do it. What did he say? So yeah, just looking at Kyle's chats here, his thumbnails are floating and his colored boxes are one sheet. Though I think, okay, so that works, but now if I do that, but format, paint, none, will that work? Aha! There it is. So it's going to take a little bit, as he said. It's going to be more sheets, but I'm kind of on the right page here. So this is games, so we'll put this in my floating container right there. And then I need to put, oh yeah, I need to change this to games sheet color, and that's going to be false. I also need to format this. Well, I'll copy this formatting. Copy formatting, paste formatting. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now when we go back here, so that's how it's happening, right? So we've got sheets back here. We've got KPI sparklines back here. But on top of them, floating on top of them is a sheet action, or not a sheet action. Floating on top of them is this kind of pseudo selector that has all of that contained in there. So instead of having you watch me do all of the rest, I'm going to finish out these two. And then if you wanted to complete the rest, it would just be a matter of duplicating the rest. Obviously, what I would suggest is finding a better way to do it, because this is quite this is a as Kyle mentioned, there's a lot of sheets that are going to be required in this, but that's okay. What we'll do is we will go to the game KPI. We need to remove this. Click OK. That's gone. Let's look at our dashboard, see how that's looking. That's looking better. And then we just kind of have to get our floating sheet. Let's see, the floater. We just kind of have to play with this a little bit to get this to show the right way. Let's see, and as we add more in here, it will change. So, but for the sake of the live stream instead of watching you, because we're running up on about an hour of this. So, and I want to be, I want to make sure we get everything covered. But so here, what you would do, and then you could. So you'd go into your sheet here, and you would just start to edit this, right? So the first thing you would do is, Tableau, you'd do games. This would be like a Tableau semi-bold at, I don't know, 12 or so. And then you would have Pools, and you would have to have Cabrera, but now our other things are going to have to change too, because I was doing table calculations, and table calculations don't work when there's no data on there, so we'll have to change that, but that's okay. We can do that real quick. We'll change this to the red color. We'll change this to the other color, and then we'll drop these guys down to a medium and 10, we'll say. And then we'll bring in, so that's what we'll do next. So instead now, what we've got there, that looks fine. We can play with the formatting of it, but we need to go to the games KPI, and instead of doing that, we'll do a fixed table calculation. And we're going to fix it across the entire table. Oh, I still need to, right? And click apply. Just adding a curly bracket here. And now when I take these guys and I drop them into label, you can see that I have my right values. So now we'll go in here and we'll add the Pujols KPI. We'll drag that up there. We'll take this, we'll move that up there. We'll make this Tableau medium 10 there. Make that this red color. Tableau medium 10, we'll make this the KPI color. Alright, so that's how it would look. So then on the dashboard, right, it would look like this. Now, obviously we have the KPI spark line that's still not looking great because it's being cut off there. So what we'll do there is we'll go in here. Yep, and these are going to be broke. And we need to add a little bit of a buffer to our sum of games to get that to drop down. So we can do a reference band on sum of games, and maybe we'll do it at a constant of 300. That's probably too much. Edit. Whoop. Edit. How about 250? How about 200? Oh yeah, there's only 165 games a year, 162, so we'll do 175. What's that look like? Yeah, maybe more than that. We'll do 200. I mean, this is really kind of playing with it, right? This is just, there we go. And then you can go in here and you can remove your KPI. So, or remove, edit, format, no label tooltip, no tooltip, no line, no fill. And now it's gone. All right. So then you would just kind of have to play with that as you build out the others. But now what we need to do is we need to finish out the parameter action. So we'll go here, we'll go to actions. Again, this is pretty hacky, but it works. And that's what counts, right? So we need to get rid of all of our other actions here. We'll keep everything the same, but now what we have is we have the hit selector 2. metric selection is the parameter. The field is games. So when I select that sheet, I want to input the string games into my metric selection parameter. And yes, that means you would have to create a second parameter for the hits one. And that's this one. Metric selection, hits, no aggregation, keep value there. So now, whenever I click on the sheet, whenever I click on this sheet, it changes that, right? So now the other thing is, how do I get rid of that silly highlighting thing? Well, that's the classic, there's several ways of doing it. The way that I do it is true, create two calculated fields, true, or this is false. I am sure that there is a faster way to do all this, but for the sake of an audience, we're getting it done, right? So now we'll go to hit selector 2, true, false. And yes, we also need to come in here and do another action, a filter action on the dashboard hit selector, or no, has to be one at a time. So hit selector to the worksheet hit selector, on select, keep filtered values, and then selected fields where true equals false. And where does true equal false? Never. So, and then we'll do the same thing for the other one, filter. And yes, if I were doing this in real time as a project, I would not keep my actions name just like this. So I need to do the actual that. So select, keep values, and this is on true, and this is on false. All right, so now whenever I select this, it goes away. That's not what I want. Dashboard actions. Oh, is it because show all values? That's why. Show all values. There we go. There we go. There we go. So now it's switching, right? It's switching the colors, and it's not doing that highlight thing, so you always see it. So that is how I went about creating it. Obviously, what Kyle said here is that he's got a different solution. So I'm excited to see that. Or if you want to, you can download his workbook and see how he did it. But for the sake of time, we're over an hour, and I don't want to take up any more of everyone's time. I think we'll end it there. So to finish out this challenge, create more KPI sheets, create more Sparkline sheets, create more selector sheets, add your actions, all that kind of fun stuff, and you can do exactly what I just did. Or what you should do is figure out a better way, which I probably will. Who knows? But maybe I'll do an addendum video where I'll just record it and send it out. But because clearly there has to be a better way, because Kyle solved one, or Kyle found one. But this solution also works. So, having said that, thank you so much. I'm not going to take any money. Yes, good job. I got there. Yes, there's so many ways to do it. So, thanks so much. Have a great week. Excellent challenge, Kyle. Thank you so much. This was fun. It was good to see me sweat, I'm sure. And we'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Go forth and viz.